Okay, so don't rest at the bonfire unless you want to respawn all the enemies again. So instead, go ahead and follow the path. By the way, if you don't have a firebomb, you can simply strike the barrels with your sword. Just make sure you're at full health because you're going to take quite a bit of damage. Alright, so before respawning the enemies, continue following the path. Go ahead and climb down the nearby ladder and head to the bottom of the steps and immediately turn right. In this small area along the wall, you'll find a corpse you can loot for a green blossom. Now you should see a destroyed hole in the wall. Now be very careful when going through this hole because there are several undead in this room, and one of them is standing behind a ballista which will fire and do massive damage. So simply run in and wait for them to fire the ballista, and if you're lucky, it'll take out the undead trying to chase you. And then stand outside and wait for the undead to walk out. Be very careful because these guys are pretty deadly. Oh, they got me, no way. Yeah, you gotta be very careful because these guys are pretty deadly. And I really don't have the most health right now. It also takes forever for me to drink the Estus flask because my agility is so low. By the way, if you want to be able to drink your Estus flask quicker, go ahead and invest some points into adaptability because that's your main stat for increasing agility. And agility not only lets you drink your Estus flask quicker, but it also lets you roll quicker and other things like that. Alright, so let's take that guy out again. And then we're going to head back down to that ladder so that we can... Let's quickly take these guys out over here. Remember, don't climb up to the top unless you want to encounter the pursuer. So we're going to get to that later on. But for now, let's just go ahead and head back down that ladder. Alright, so again, wait for them to come out. Make sure you're at full health. Alright. Alright, so after you clear out all the undead in this room, go ahead and loot the corpses nearby for a great soul arrow magic and a large soul of a lost undead and a blue wooden shield. Alright, so after you've cleared that and looted the items, head to the back behind the ballista, and you can find a ladder that will lead you down to the bottom part of the building. So slide down the ladder, and here you'll find a chest, And there might be an undead lurking down here, so be very careful. You'll also find a Pharaoh's contraption. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open the chest, but be very careful because it's a trap chest. So immediately open it up and then roll back. And after the trap goes off, go ahead and loot the chest for a Titanite shard. Once you've done that, if you have a Pharaoh's Lockstone, go ahead and insert one inside this face. By the way, these are what the Pharaoh's contraptions look like. You'll find a bunch of them all spread out throughout the game. If you have a Pharaoh's Lockstone, you can use one. And whenever you use a Pharaoh's Lockstone on a Pharaoh's contraption, it will create a glowing face on the wall somewhere in the same room. If you strike the face, it will remove the wall, allowing you to reach some hidden items. Take note that some Pharaoh's contraptions are actually traps and will hurt you instead of leading you to secret treasures, and some Pharaoh's contraptions won't do anything at all. So I'm going to only be using Pharaoh's Lockstone on the Pharaoh's contraptions that lead to treasure. That way, you save as much Pharaoh's Lockstones as possible because they're not exactly plentiful in the game. There is quite a few for you to get, but they're limited. So you're going to want to only use a Pharaoh's Lockstone on the ones that I use, because I'm going to be using it only on the ones that lead us to treasure. So after you use the Pharaoh's Lockstone and hit the wall to destroy it, you'll be led to 2 treasure chests. The one on the right contains a Chloranthy ring, and the one on the left contains a Titanite slab. So a Titanite slab is the highest Titanite upgrading item that you can get. It allows you to upgrade your weapons from +9 to +10, which is the maximum. But more importantly, that ring we just got, the Chloranthy ring, is really good because it raises stamina recovery speed. So I would suggest to equip that as soon as possible. It also gives you a little green aura emitting from your body. Now this ring is really useful because, as you can see, if you use your stamina will regenerate a whole lot faster, which is very useful. So after you've done that, go ahead and head back up the ladder and exit the building and turn right. Here you'll find a NPC sitting on some bags next to a gate.
Hello there. Traveling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of treasure hunt, you might call it. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in... I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the loot for himself, but it trapped him inside. I still have the gent's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed. I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside. I'll leave this.
Alright, so after you talk to him, make sure you talk to him 3 times so that he starts repeating his dialogue. And once he starts repeating himself, go ahead and enter the doorway and take out the undead that attack you. Also, the gate will shut behind you, trapping you inside. But don't worry. Just make sure to take out all the undead. And then enter the doorway to the right. And take out the 3 undead that attack you. After you take them out, go ahead and loot the corpse for an aromatic ooze. Alright, after looting that corpse, head up top and take out more undead enemies. Alright, so after you clear the enemies at the top of the stairs, you can head out through the doorway and destroy the barrel nearby. Here you can reach the path, allowing you to drop down on the other side of the locked gate. Now if you talk to the NPC Pete again,
Well, I see you managed to escape.
he'll give you the white soapstone.
I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh, but you should take this.
He'll give you the white sign soapstone.
It allows undead to call out for help to one another across the fissures between worlds. With luck, somebody will lend you a hand. Well, I hope be careful.
Alright, so after you talk to Pete twice after entering through the trapped gate and surviving, he'll give you the white sign soapstone. Now what this item does is it allows you to join other players' world. Pretty much it's a summon sign, and whenever you equip it, make sure to equip it if you're trying to play online. Whenever you equip it, you can press X and you can leave your summon sign on the ground. This way you can be summoned to other players' world and help them out and get some souls. It's also good because if you're hollowed and you don't have any human effigy and you have a lot of your health missing, you can join someone's world and help them out. Upon fulfilling their request and helping them out, your health will be restored back to maximum and you will be returned to human form. So if you're hollowed, a white sign soapstone can really help you out if you have no human effigies. By the way, there are 2 different white sign soapstones. There's a small white sign soapstone, which lets you join another player's world for only a little amount of time. And then there's the white sign soapstone that we just got, which allows you to stay in another player's world for quite a long time and help them defeat bosses and stuff like that. So this is a very handy item to have, especially if you're trying to play online. Alright, so after you got that, continue down the path to the left, and you'll find a really heavy knight. Be very careful of this guy's attacks because they do really big damage. So go ahead and lure him away from the guys throwing fire bombs at you. And make sure to time your attacks on this guy. He's very slow, but be careful because if you stand directly behind him, he'll fall on his back and it'll damage you. The best thing to do is wait for him to attack and then quickly roll out of the way. Then you should be able to get 2 or 3 different hits off on him. Just rinse and repeat that until you kill him. He's really easy once you know how to kill him. Alright, so after taking out the heavy knight, turn to the right and take out the undead sitting on the wall to the left. And then continue through the doorway. Now here you'll find a giant's remains that looks like a tree. Ignore them for now, but just remember this area because you will be able to come back here later on in the game. However, you can check behind them to find a corpse that contains a large soul of a lost undead. So after getting that, backtrack to the ladder and climb up. At the top of the ladder, head to the right, and you'll find a corpse sitting on the wall. Go ahead and loot that for a light crossbow. Now crossbows are pretty much like a regular bow, except they use different arrows. They use bolts instead of arrows. Alright, so go ahead and enter the next room. Now be very careful here. There's a corpse on a platform to the right that you have to sprint jump to, but if you're not careful and you fall down below, you'll be ambushed by 3 undead knights. So make sure to time your jump so that you make it. Loot the corpse for a soul of a nameless soldier and a torch. Then go ahead and do a plunging attack on the nearby knight. Again, be very careful here because there's 3 knights and you're at a pretty low space. If your weapon's about to break, you can go ahead and trade it for something else because it has been a while since we've rested at a bonfire. Just make sure to not let your weapon break because if your weapon breaks, you're going to have to head back to Majula and repair it at the blacksmith. After you take out the 3 knights below you, go ahead and loot the chest nearby for a mail breaker weapon and an infantry helm. Once you got that, drop down below and head through the doorway on the other side of the heavy knight and head up the stairs to the right to find a corpse you can loot for a life gem and a homeward bone. After you've got that corpse, head to the other side of the room. Make sure you take out the undead enemies along the way. Also, if you run out of Estus Flask, don't forget to use your life gems. Kill the undead knight on the ground before looting the corpse at the end of the hallway for 2 amber herbs. Alright, so after you do that, you'll see a long sword hanging above the water. Carefully climb up the sword and take out the undead at the end. And then quickly loot the corpse at the end for a halberd and a soul of a nameless soldier. Be very careful when doing this, because as soon as you head about halfway up the sword, you'll be ambushed by 2 soldiers from behind you. So after you loot the corpse, make sure that you head back down the sword. You might just have to quickly run to the end of the sword in order to get to safety where you can take out the knights, and then go back up and loot the corpse after you deal with the knights to avoid falling into the water. After you've cleared all the enemies out of this area, enter the misty doorway. Now you might encounter a crystal lizard in this area. Now crystal lizards in this game are fast and they disappear if you can't kill them in time. But if you do kill one, it'll usually leave you some rare items. So once you enter the misty doorway, quickly head to the right and take out the lizard if you can. If you can't take out the lizard, don't worry, it'll respawn as long as you didn't kill it. So if you didn't manage to kill the lizard, because sometimes you have to hit him just right, or sometimes your attacks won't hit him, but if you don't hit the lizard and kill him in time, he'll disappear. But don't worry, because you can rest at the bonfire and he will respawn. But take note that after you kill the crystal lizard once, he won't respawn again. So if you missed him, don't worry about it. You can come back and take him out. Now before exiting this area, if you head to the end of the path, you'll find some stairs leading down to a corpse. Loot that for a large leather shield and a life gem. Alright, so after you do that, go ahead and head back. And this time head to the left. Here you'll find another corpse. Loot that for 10 fire arrows. And then directly past that is an elevator that will take you down. But don't go down that elevator just yet, because it leads to a boss fight. Instead, open up the nearby doorway. And this will lead you directly back to the ladder that leads straight up to the Cardinal Tower bonfire. So it's a very handy shortcut that you can use from now on. So go ahead and rest at the bonfire so that you can get your Estus flask and repair your weapons. And also get full health. Now I'm going to re-equip my fire longsword. Now let's quickly head back down to that area with the crystal lizard and try to kill the crystal lizard this time. If you're using magic, magic will definitely lock. If you lock onto the crystal lizard, it'll be an easy kill. There we go. We got him. So for killing this crystal lizard, you get 2 Titanite shards, which isn't too bad, but the crystal lizards later on in the game yield very nice stuff, such as Titanite slabs and twinkling Titanite and stuff like that. Alright, so if you didn't manage to kill the lizard, you can go back and kill him now. And that's pretty much all we're going to do. Now we're going to prepare for the upcoming boss battle by soul farming a little bit. You can kill all the enemies in the area that we faced so far by resting at the nearby bonfire. This will cause them to respawn and you can kill them all. However, just be careful. Just know this, that after you kill all the enemies 10 times, they will stop respawning. So if you want to get the most souls here, make sure to kill all the enemies in all the areas that we've explored so far. And if you kill them 10 times, you'll have quite a bit of souls. Also, it will stop them from respawning. So if you missed some items or you wanted to explore the area further, you can clear out all the enemies by defeating them 10 times, and then you won't have to worry about enemies attacking you while you explore the area. Alright guys, so that's going to conclude this episode of Dark Souls 2. I'm going to go ahead and soul farm. I already have 7,771 souls. So hopefully by the time I clear this area out of all the enemies so that they don't respawn anymore, I should have a good amount of souls. And then I'll go ahead and level up at the beginning of the next episode to show you guys what I invest my points in. So just make sure that you grind at least a couple times in this area so you can get a good amount of souls, because we're coming up on the first real boss battle of the game, and he's pretty easy, but if you're under leveled he could cause you some problems. So just make sure to soul grind, because that's what I'm about to do, and I'll see you guys next time on Dark Souls 2.